Hello, everybody. So, welcome to the latest live stream, which I'm going to run during the next couple of weeks, explaining what to expect in your scuba diver training. So, I've seen that some people would join live and then others would watch this later when it's on my YouTube channel page. So I hope this is useful for new divers, people who want to become divers, and who are not sure what to expect from the dive training. So what we will talk about today is what to expect during the open water diver course, which is the first course. So I teach according to PADI, but there are very similar courses in most other diving teaching agencies. And so this is really the course which makes you from a non-diver to a diver. And there are essentially three parts in this course. One is you will do some theory study, videos online, and books, or a combination thereof. And the other part is you will study in a pool where you study the basic skills, and then you will do 4 actual open water dives. Now, what to expect with the book study? Sometimes people are too afraid of the theory they need to study, and sometimes other prospective diving students think they can just be in some backpacker town, party all night, show up the next day, not study anything, and become qualified divers. And both attitudes are not correct. So let me give you a proper assessment of that theory study. So I've never had anybody fail this, but depending on where you are in your personal journey, it might be easier or harder. So if you are a college student, and it actually doesn't really matter what field you're studying, and if you're used to sitting down and taking in academic content for a couple of hours a piece, then this is pretty doable to you. This is not very hard. It's all interesting and it's all relevant for diving, but it's very, very doable. And if it's even easier, of course, if you are a student of natural sciences, of physics, of chemistry, or a medical student. But even if you're not that, this is something you can really achieve relatively easily. If you have not studied anything in any detail for a while, so if you're out of school for 10 years, even if you're a smart person, if you're not in the rhythm of studying, this might actually take a little bit of an effort. But it's an effort very well worth making. And this course materials are available in a number of languages. The bigger European languages, Chinese, Korean, and so on. Sometimes in the Philippines, I see that people who are native speakers of something like Visaya and Tagalog, which are actually languages with a lot of native speakers, but there's no course material in these languages, so they will typically do it in English. The language barrier might be a little bit of a barrier. That being said, I've not had anybody fail this, and people who who might have a language barrier issue and who are just not in the rhythm of studying, they will just have to take 2 days, and they would have to make an extra effort with this theory part. Now, what are you learning? So basically, you're learning about all components of what it means to be a diver. You're learning about the equipment, how to use it, what the individual parts are. You're learning about the physics, very basic physics, of course. What happens to pressure when you're going underwater? Obviously the pressure increases. What consequences does that have? So things like that. You're learning a little bit about physiology, particularly the air-filled spaces in your body, like the lungs or the middle ear. And so these things you learn, and then you learn some things about diving practice. So why do you always dive together with a buddy? What do you do if there's a current at the beginning of the dive? So there is this material which, a lot of it is fairly commonsensical. Almost all of it is quite important for your actual diving practice. So there's nothing which you just study because the people at PADI think, they want to fill up their book. So all of this has relevance to the situation where you're actually in the water, underwater. And then, there would be things like, what do you do if you lose your body? So basically, you just have to think these things through. Now, so even if you're a really smart person, a quick learner, this is nothing which you can, which you will know to begin with. So you have to make an effort to learn this. Now, how are you learning these things? And again, I can only speak for the PADI courses which I'm teaching, but very similar in with other diving certification agencies. There will always be a multi-pronged approach. So in PADI, you have the choice. You can either do everything online, or you can get a book. And if you get the book, you will also watch some videos. And a lot of the materials, for instance, these relationships between pressure and volume, they will be explained in the book. They will be explained in the video. Then there are these brief quizzes where you will be asked this. If you haven't understood it yet, obviously you will get the answers wrong, and then this is a chance for your instructor to explain this. So in many cases, you will hear these things 3 times. You will read them in a book, you will see them in the video, and you will have a conversation with your instructor about a topic. So really quite this is very didactic. If you hear something once, you might remember it. If you hear something 2 or 3 times, you will remember this much better. And then there's a final exam, which is 50 questions, and you can get some of them wrong, but and if you get too many of them wrong, you can just redo the exam after further study. And none of that should scare anybody off from learning to scuba dive. One more thing, yes. So there is a part about diving practice. There is also a part where you're just being introduced to the very specific skills you will study in the pool and then in the ocean. So the theory part, again, doesn't stand on its own. It's really connected to these other parts. And if you pay properly attention during the theory part, if you remember these skills, which again your instructor will explain and demonstrate to you again when you're in the water. But if you already pay attention while you're doing the book study or the online study, or while you're watching the videos, you will have a much easier time beforehand. So that's pretty much it. So again, I just wanted to both take any potential fear out of anybody who thinks this might be too hard. Like I'm not a physics professor, I can't learn about diving. That's wrong. But I also want to warn people that they actually have to put in the time, and you can't show up with a hangover and expect to do this in an hour. And finally, I hope this is useful. This is informative. Next week, we will have a live session about the pool part, about the so-called confined water part. And so if you want to know more about what to expect when you're taking your beginner diver course, and when you're going in the water with scuba diving gear for the first time, then tune in then. I will announce this on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. As usual, please subscribe to the channel, leave some comments if you have any questions. I do my best to answer them, and share these videos on social media if they're useful to you, and have a lovely day, and see you next time.